I'm Arlene, host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And as a business consultant and life coach, I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you always wanted to write a book, but you just haven't seemed to get started, or you always wanted to 10x that business that you already have, expand it to the next level, you know exactly what you need to do, but you just haven't done it? Well, I've already purchased all the courses, read all the books, the Tony Robbins, all sorts. I have several degrees, including a master's degree and credits toward a doctorate. I've sat and met celebrities and done the networking. And what I realized is what I really needed was a mastermind group of people working toward my project, my business, or my endeavor. So what I've done is met with coaches and met with experts and put them together to work on your project. So join us today for our Mastermind networking group. I'll see you there. Click the link below and join us.
Show. We're so excited that you're joining us today. Today, we're talking about a topic that is the most important topic ever. Okay, it affects your entire life, regardless of what it is that you're doing. And that's this area of relationships. It affects how much money you earn. It affects where you go to school. It affects if you go to school or not, because if your partner is not interested in you going, you probably won't go, or else you're going to have problems and challenges. It affects what you do with what you have earned. This particular issue is everything, okay, in terms of whether or not you're going to overcome your fears, get unstuck, and live your best life. And I'm so excited today because I am joined by Tara Bramble. She's been on the show before. She's a mental health therapist. She's on her way to gaining her doctorate. She's been married for 30 plus years in terms of her own successful marriage. A lot of times people are talking with us about marriage and relationships, but they don't have good relationships themselves. So I'm so excited that today we have somebody who stood the test of time and is going to talk with us about relationships and how we can do better. Also, she has her own successful children that are, some have graduated from college and some are in college and some are on their way to their own successes in life. So it's great to know that there's a woman that is in our midst that can help us to answer our questions and win at this game of life. So without further ado, Miss Tara Bramble.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Tara Bramble. It's a pleasure to have you back for part 2.
We had a great time our last taping, so I'm ready to go.
Thank you. I am glad. I am so glad to have you back because you are a wealth of knowledge and information, and I am honored to spend time with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
You have had a successful marriage for how many years? 30, how many?
32 years.
32. I wanted to be precise, okay? Because
Right.
every year counts. So people only make it to 2, okay? And not even that at times. And how many children, successful children, have you raised?
I have 3 children, and they've all graduated college.
Woo! Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's a success story too. Now, many people think that in order for them to get into a relationship, the person has to be in the church building, or they use a proverbial stick and shove them into the church building because they want to date this particular person. What is your take on that? On the culmination, on the beginning part of the relationship? Does the person need to be in the church or not?
No.
Okay.
No, the person doesn't have to be in the church. They have to be in a place that is important to you. Your happy place, your place of growth. That's where you want to find them because you want to be compatible. So the last thing you need is to go to a place and have a great conversation with someone and then find out that their beliefs and their values and principles are totally opposite from yours.
That is awesome. I have heard so many young women who want to be in a relationship stop the relationship because the man doesn't go to the building. And it's not so much about you going to the building, but it's about the building being in you, or the Spirit of God being in you, the church being in you. Because remember, we're the body and not necessarily that building over there. Because who knows what may be or may not be going on in the building.
See, my question is, what buildings are you going to? Not you going to that building, but what are all the buildings? Where are the places that you like to go? And will they nourish and help you grow? And will they nourish and help me grow?
Okay, beautiful. I think that's insightful right there. You said the growth. So I have a client who's also a friend of mine who went into her marriage. She's a very successful person, very well-heeled, educated, all the letters behind. But her husband didn't want her to work, okay, when they got married, and they never discussed it ahead of time. So that's why this piece of, where are you going and what are they supportive or not of you is so essential, because then she ended up being a stay-at-home mom, taking care of her kids. And she was the one that had the grand degree and, worked for the big 6 accounting firms, and he wasn't one that was making much money.
Okay, so what we want to do first is we want to define success. Success is when 2 people agree to work at it. That's success. And so when you're working at it, you have your highs and your lows. Just as we have 4 seasons, there are 4 seasons in relationships. Let's just use that. And so there are times when it's cold, when it's warm, is when it's in the middle, and you need a jacket, you can work at it, storms, everything, catastrophes, all of that going on. That's successful. So what happens is you have to decide what battles you're going to fight. Am I going to fight for my career, or am I going to fight for my marriage? And will me fighting for my marriage help my career, or would me fighting for my career help my marriage? That's something that you have to make a decision. You have to take the risk.
That is so insightful. We have to decide which battles we're going to fight. Now, hopefully, ideally, you won't have to fight any of these, because you're going to watch this program and be more insightful when you entered in than a lot of other people when they were entering in. But we all know that some of us who have been in have had challenges. What was it that made you be able to recover from challenges in your marriage?
Challenges.
So
even though they are viewing the show, we have to remember that growth comes with challenges. And as we persevere through the difficult time, that's when we grow. Wisdom is knowledge gained. So we have to go through the proving stage, which if you invite it, you can kind of like having a baby. If you invite it, then you can ride with it. But if you fight against it, then there'll be turbulence. So process is very important.
If you ride it, you can ride with it. If you fight it, then you're going to go against it. Okay.
And you'll have conflict. But challenge, it's important to know challenge is necessary. Difficulty is necessary for growth. The seed that goes in the ground must break and then take root.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying in terms of the marriage, it has to break and then it takes root and then it takes on a new form. Is that what you're saying?
The 2 become 1. So that is a very difficult process. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Okay. So I picture it. The couple, they're arguing, they're going back and forth. He said this, she said that. They can't seem to move past this difficulty or this challenge. And every time they think they're past it, he brings it up again or she brings it up again. What do you do in order to...
In regards to that, there have to be rules. There have to be communication rules. And that was one of the points I was going to share. You have to understand how the person communicates, number one, because they're communicating from their life, their reference, whatever it is, their parents, whatever their rules are. And then you have to understand your rules, and then you have to bring it together and communicate. So at some point, when my husband and I are going back and forth, I decide that I'm going to stop. And I'm not going to say, I'm going to stop. No, I stop. But I had to learn that. I had to resolve. I had to resign. And I don't have to release my beliefs or values. We just don't agree. And it's okay. I love you. And it's okay that we don't agree.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's great that that works. You have cultivated that art after 32 years where you stop. But if it's a newer relationship, the two of you, well, not necessarily, but it's a marriage and it's newer, and you guys haven't cultivated that smoothness yet and that flow, what can you do? Do you tell your partner, look, this is what I'm doing, I'm just gonna stop? Because sometimes even when you stop, it's an encouragement for the other person. Oh, okay, well now
No,
she's
cut
wrong.
the drama. Cut the drama. You deal with you first. You don't go, oh, I'm not going to go into it anymore because I don't want to argue. No. Cut the drama. Just stop. And we don't do that. We like to communicate. It's almost like another way to throw another hit.
Okay, what if you stop and you don't go any further, but because you've stopped now, the other party sees that as a green light to say, go in. You still just let it flow.
You chose them. That might happen. There is no magical answer. And the thing about it is you're learning them as well. And if you pay attention and get quiet within yourself, then you learn where the stop button is. And if there is no stop button, that is a confrontation to be had.
It's like communication is the key. And I was talking just today with, another party, and we were saying how intimacy is created by communication. And when we communicate well, it can sometimes lead to other things, even though we don't intend for it to lead to other things. So I want you to talk a little bit about cheating.
Oh, okay. My belief and understanding of counseling, we'll talk about men, ladies. Men will do what they can get away with, bottom line, and people will do what they can get away with. Women, it's a little more cognitive, more mental, a little more emotional, and we're kind of deliberate. And even in this time in 2020, when women are more, they display more of an ease in cheating, it's still different for us than men. And if we want it just to be physical, that's your choice. You're an adult. But when we do cheat, it is first an assault against ourselves, because any sexual engagement is soulish. Sex is designed to cause people to become one. And that's what happens. Sex, you're becoming one. So
what happens if you're in a relationship and the other party cheats? Is that an automatic, well, we have to keep going because the person cheated? Or is that an automatic, let's exit because the person has now violated the principles of the agreement?
It is your personal decision what you do when your partner cheats on you. That's it. No one can tell you what to do.
So that was your soundbite. That was your soundbite, your 30-second answer. It's up to you. You do what you think is best, what you can handle.
What you can handle.
Okay. How? Because there are many women who are sitting there and many men who are like, well, I think she might be cheating, but I don't know if she's cheating. And we're recycling those thoughts. What would you say to somebody who is cycling those thoughts around? They don't have proof necessarily, but they're thinking those thoughts.
Like everything else, if you don't have proof, let it go. If it's true, it's going to happen. It's going to come back around. And don't spend your peace in trying to figure out something that you don't have facts about. Remember, it's you first. You have to have peace. You have to love yourself. You have to care for yourself. Don't cheat on yourself.
Love yourself. Work on yourself. Put yourself first. Now, this is another one that has come up. Many people talk about, I know the book, Act Like a Man, Think Like a Woman, and he says there's a 90-day rule and you should wait 90 days before you partake in having sexual relations with your partner. But there's also the biblical rule and the religious rule that says you should wait until marriage. What is the Tara Bramble 30-something years of marriage and 3 successful kids version of this particular question?
I do believe that when you have sexual intercourse, you are joining. 2 people are joining. And I believe that it is soulish. And I do believe that the 2 become one. And so what happens is when you join with a person, you join with their soul. That is their mind, their body, their spirit. If you do not want to be connected with them for life, because they add to you, you can't scrape a person off your soul. If you think that they are worth being part of your life, and you really don't know them, but if you think they have the value, they will add to your person. If you think that they won't rip you off and take your peace and take your joy, if you don't think that, then do what you want to do. Because the bottom line is, when it comes to sex, in this day and age, people do what they want. So count the cost.
Yes, yes.
Count
That
the
is
cost.
why it is such a pertinent question these days. I see a lot of young ladies who are involved in relationships and they have already passed that 90-day mark. And so they're partaking. And I say, if you're in that intimate situation with that partner, it's very hard to be objective and say, well, I know this is not the person for me. It begins to become a little bit more confusing, because if you are involved with your body and your mind and your spirit, and then it's easy to think, well, this is the person for me. It's harder to be objective. What do you say to that?
The biblical principle of sex only in marriage is because there's safety in the marriage commitment, where there is not safety outside of the marriage commitment. And indeed, when we are joining, if there are no boundaries, if there are no safeguards, if there's no safe place, then we go haywire. But in a marriage, there's a safe place. There is boundaries. And in a new marriage, there are indeed conflicts and different things that you have to work out. It's not perfect, but
Right.
in a marriage, there's safety. Outside of the marriage, there is no safety. And that's when we go haywire.
Beautiful.
There's no safety.
Beautifully said. So this is why it makes sense to wait, because when you wait, the longer you wait, the greater amount of time you have to get to know that person and to establish whether or not that person truly is your long-term partner, or if he's just a short-term partner, or if he's a lifetime partner. So it does make sense to give it time to develop insight and to develop some knowledge about the person. And some people will say, well, how long does it take? Because sometimes you're married to people, and like yourself, you've been married for 30 years. I'm sure there's still things that you don't know about your husband that you're learning every day.
Right. So it's important, if I want to leave anything, sexual intercourse is a physical act which connects the soul of two people. And the question you want to ask yourself is, do I have the power to disconnect my soul from this person?
Once you've already
Do I
connected.
want to be connected to this person for my life?
Okay, so what I want to talk about next is this huge topic of this feminine energy. Everybody's talking about feminine energy in order to connect with your partner and your mate versus the masculine energy and all of this stuff. Okay, and we're going to take a PSA, a quick PSA, and come right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this, because many people say it's a Jezebel spirit and it's not, right, and it's controlling. And then other people say, yeah, you better connect with your feminine energy. So we'll be right back. I'm here to tell you 2 reasons why you should join our Speakers Bureau training and our how to become a world-class speaker. 1, revenue generation. People who know how to communicate well earn more dollars and cents. And 2, if you have a day job, you're not a speaker, teacher, author, trainer, you're going to gain promotion on your job if you're better able to communicate with confidence in those board meetings. Now, you say, why should I join your group, Arlene? There are so many programs out there. Well, I'm guaranteeing you an interview on television or radio if you complete our 10 sessions of our Speakers Bureau training. So I have a plethora of friends that do the same types of things that I do, and so we're guaranteeing you an interview on either television or radio. And you say, well, why else, Arlene? Why else should I join? Well, if you join our Speakers Bureau, after having taken the 10-session training, I am going to help you, along with our team, to launch that speaking career that you always envisioned, so that you can use your message to change the world. So there's so many programs out there, and they tell you how to be a speaker. But I'm going to actually help you to get booked on paid speaking engagements, on television, and on radio, if you complete all 10 sessions and you join our Speakers Bureau. I hope to see you there and see you using your dream, your vision, and your talent to change the world. Bye-bye. See you there. Hello and welcome back. Again, I'm joined today with Tara Bramble, who is a mental health therapist and a young lady who's been married for 32 years and has raised 3 successful children. And we're talking about marriage. We're talking about the family and things that help us to put the family together and stay together. So one of the things that is so interesting to me, I've been watching online about relationships because I knew we were going to do the show, and there's so many people that have popped up now, and they're talking about feminine energy versus masculine energy, and that some of the men who are not wealthy are scrubs or slugs. Are you familiar with this, what I'm talking about?
There's so much out there.
So much out there. Okay.
That.
Okay, and there's the Kevin Samuels stuff. He's somebody who recently passed away, but was very, very prominent in this space of talking about relationships. So I believe that there is not just a one size fits all. I don't think it's all feminine energy and you should just exclusively sit pretty and fold your hands and, do your hair and nails, wear pretty jewelry, but I don't think it's all the other side either where, women need to just, work and make money and support the household and take care of their children and be aggressive. I believe that the answer lies in people taking care of the responsibilities that we need to take care of, and it lies somewhere in the middle. What is your take on this big dialogue and big conversation about feminine energy?
As a doctoral student, I have done so much research. And one of the things I have learned is that smart people take information and they regurgitate it the way that they want to. Back in the day, it was men from Mars, women from Venus. Right. There are different ways to say and to talk about how men and women are different. Indeed, we are different. But what is most important is that we are all unique. So it's important to locate yourself and to learn yourself and to find yourself. Here's an example. When I first meet men and, I'm taking care of business, I am assertive, I am strong, I am not emotional, all that kind of stuff. And even with a wedding ring on, they are attracted to me and they'll flirt with me and I'll respond a little and all of that. All right. And then I've noticed that same me, I'm acting the same way I was before I got married and they were attracted then. But then when you get in a relationship, then it's like, you talk too much or you're always trying to take control or you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that. And I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, well, wait a minute. We get mixed messages. And so what happens is that when people don't know who they are, they're vulnerable to those mixed messages. They're vulnerable to those authors and those people who do those studies. Here it is right here. Feminine, masculine, be who you are, locate who you are, spend time looking in the mirror, spend time talking in the mirror, your gestures, whatever you're doing and whoever you are, be true to yourself. If you are assertive, then you are assertive. I have invested time trying to change and please people. I have counseled and coached so many people who say, I want to be like this. And my question is, well, why? What is your reference? You have men who are raised by their mother and their aunts and their sisters, and they have lots of feminine qualities. They deal with things the way their mother deals with it, their aunt, their cousins, whomever. You have boys who, and so they deal with it that way. Then you have young men who are raised in a similar construct, and they are like, I'm not going to act like that. I'm not going to act like this. They deliberately make decisions to act that way. I know women, I know one woman, she walked and talked like her father and was sexy at all get out. And so, to just bring this in, you have to study yourself, enjoy yourself, and what you don't like, that's what you make the corrections for. Stop investing in books and studies. You are you, and embrace yourself. Honestly, embrace yourself and be true to thine own self. Be true.
In our last 2 minutes, I'm so glad that you were able to share that, because it's a thought that's out there and it's a discussion that's out there. And I really wanted to give you an opportunity to comment on that. You guys hear my comments on these things often, but this is something that has come from someone who is in a doctoral program. I have several degrees. I have credits toward a doctorate as well. I've been married, been divorced, been married. And I think that it's important for us to really look at these issues because we want our families to do better. We want our families to come together because I truly believe this will determine the next generation and what the next generation does. How we conduct ourselves today will impact where we go as a society. And so it's really important, guys, that we look at our relationships and do what we can to foster better relationships in our homes, with our children, with the children that we impact, okay, and have relationships with. And, it really impacts everything. Before you go and we sign off, the last thing that I want to talk about is this concept of longevity in marriage. So I know that you've been around for 30 something years in your marriage. My marriage is much more young, but what are some of the things that kept it together?
Number one, that my husband and I individually love God more than we loved each other. Okay. The second thing is we made a decision to stay. We made a decision to work. Many times I wanted to walk away. Many times I considered walking away. But I made a decision to stay. And what is most important is that you are true to yourself. Always true to yourself.
That's a beautiful note to end on. Always be true to yourself. Many of you know I've written a book. It's called 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear, Getting Unstuck and Living Your Best Life. Secret number one is what Tara Bramble just pointed out, and that is knowing yourself, being clear about who you are and what it is that you're looking to accomplish. She also said, making up your mind that no matter what comes high or low, you're going to stay in that relationship. So I want you to give our last words before we...
Oh, yes. When we're talking about relationships, we're saying that we want to be in a connection with a person who appreciates us for who we are. So the most attractive person is the person who loves themselves. That is the most attractive person. You are doing the best for yourself. You are caring the best for yourself.
Thank you so much, Tara Bramble, for being on the show today. I'd like to thank our team, Baki and Angel, for helping us today to put the show together. And I'd like to thank you, our listeners, because without you, we don't have a show. We see you next week, Thursday at 6:30, same place. Have a great day and go to askarleneshow.com, and we'd like to see you there. Give us any comments or comments about the show, and we'd love to respond to you.
Name some things I'll be without you, good. Stop the growth, I bet you think you could. Said you gon' leave me, man, I wish you would. Yeah, I'm different, so I'm misunderstood. So I'ma always be good. Said I'ma always be good.